Greetings, this is Stasia Bliss, Bliss in the House. The topic I want to talk about right now is trust. How can we more better trust ourselves so that we can trust those that appear to be outside of us, those in our reality, others? How can we trust them or life? Because it really comes down to self-trust. So how do we trust the self? It's all coming down to this, especially in relationship, discord or fear, or entering into a relationship and not feeling like you can go there, or, people entering your life and you're wondering if they're legitimate, if you can trust them. Reality is showing a lot of, archetypes and such that are showing up to be untrustworthy. So more and more there's this sense like I can't trust anybody but myself. But when it really comes down to it, do I trust myself? So how to trust the self? Because if you don't trust the self, then you really have no foundation, no basis for trusting anyone else, because you are the consistent denominator in your reality the whole time, forevermore. It's consistently the being that you're sitting with as your personality. So to sit with that, sit with me right now in that. And first of all, beyond any mental constructs or ideas or conditioning or programming of what this being is supposed to be, or what you've learned it is, or all that, just sit for a moment and feel your presence, the weight of your body, where your body feels to be touching down, where it feels like the air is touching your skin. And the goal is to understand your body to be an interface between this reality and consciousness. And then you've got to believe the input that your body's giving you, and take it at face value. Like, okay, right now I'm getting a little extra pressure in my right side of my heel, and it's creating a little bit of extra pressure that's translated in my consciousness as discomfort. So I'm going to trust that means I should maybe move my leg a little bit, because experience has told me if I don't, that my leg might fall asleep. Okay, so this is the line of thinking that generally goes on in our awareness. But then here's the thing. We take this line of thinking into our day-to-day, and we decide that if something is uncomfortable, that we're going to back away from it because of previous experiences which have told us XYZ could happen. But let's really look at what the end result, in this case, of my leg falling asleep, like, is it really such a bad thing for my leg to go to sleep? My body's telling me there's a pain and there's a pressure here, and my experience tells me my leg might fall asleep. But if I just go, okay, thanks for the feedback, and I follow the thread a little bit more, and I trust that, you know what, my body is in the moment. I'm trusting present moment process. And if I look at times when my legs have fallen asleep and what happens then, generally I have to even bring more awareness to my body when that happens. I have to shake my leg. I maybe have to stretch a little bit more. I laugh maybe like, oh, and I hit my legs to get it to wake up. and like some fun occurs. And so the avoidance of the pain response actually kept me from that whole experience of what was going to happen if I let my leg fall asleep by just kind of going with it. So similarly, if I trust the process of life, then even a pain trigger, it could be in a relationship, something that's suddenly causing me to have a memory of discord where I may want to retract or retreat. What if I trust the process that this is what's being brought to me? This is what life brought to me right now. Therefore, I'm going to go with it, because in the past, I can also look and see that if I went through the pain, if I didn't listen and I didn't retract and I became vulnerable and I went into a situation and it broke down on me or whatever, and it actually was painful, then I had to shake myself out of it. I had to find humor in it. I had to stretch myself a little bit more than I had before so that I could come to a place again of feeling comfort, but it wasn't the same place as before because I stretched myself and I, like woke myself up a little bit more to the reality that I was asleep in that specific area, and I became a more expanded version of myself through that process. So there's two ways of looking at it, prevention of a potential discomfort, or going through the discomfort, experiencing the growth that comes with that. Neither one is necessarily wrong, but to trust the self is to trust that what I've placed in front of myself is exactly what I need, and to go with it until I don't go with it anymore. And if I did turn my attention somewhere else, maybe that was for the best too. Like, I sometimes imagine this faculty, behind me directing my attention to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I'd love to discuss more about how to trust yourself. This is just a little glimpse. If you want to know more, reach out. But trusting the self is key to unlock the next mysteries and the next levels of initiation of your experience of pure enjoyment. I truly believe. More on this, contact me.